Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video will feature another practical displacement tutorial, but this time rather than creating a Coke lid, I will be creating like cobblestone, so any repetitive pattern which you would be able to create procedurally. It will be more something in this range, so it's more square rectangles but displaced. So let's head over to Maya and I show you how to do that. And I create a polyplane. And I head straight over to the hypershade, clear the view, create an AL surface shader or a standard. It really does not matter this time. And let's just rename this to AL cobble and copy the name and rename this shading engine as well, like so. And this is the cobble floor, and select this and assign to selection and save the scene for cobble stone. Save. Right. So the idea is to create it procedurally and then later on drive a displacement map from that. And this won't be very detailed because I want to show you the principles on how to set everything up. So you can actually achieve pretty convincing results using this approach. So the first thing I want to do is create an AL layer, which is just a stack of, like in Photoshop, like layers where you can plug them together and blend them. So this one, for now, will connect just as a placeholder into my specular one, or let's say diffuse strength, just as a placeholder. So this will be my AL layer float displacement. And I'm connecting this as a temp to the diffuse strength, so I can actually start render view and see what I get if I go to isolate selected and then select this layer. Currently it is black because I don't have any alpha, no input, so no, both are on one, you get a white alpha channel. And the cool thing is with the on render view, you can now lock the selection. So I lock the selection to this displacement node now, and if I deselect, nothing will change. It will always stay connected to this node. And now I can actually rotate everything, and this is what I want. So the first thing I want to do is create a grid, which is a Maya node, a texture, grid texture. And this one, the out color, maybe we can also use alpha if we can change this to be luminance. Not sure if this will work, but we will see. Out alpha goes to layer 1. It does definitely work. And now we have the first thing which we want, which is the overall grid for the base pattern. So I will repeat this texture, just make this a bit smaller so it fits here. And I will repeat this, let's say 15 times, like so. Oh, that's for one, it's maybe too much. Let's try 10. Yeah, this should work better. Right, so this is the grid pattern, and I want to invert the colors. So this will be the first step. So everything which is black won't get displaced. Everything which is white gets displaced by 1, like the full amount. So the first thing I want to do is create a pattern which drives the width U and V, which drives this and this value. So the first thing is I will create a AL fractal, maybe AI noise, does not matter, some procedural noise. And let's plug this into the U width. There we go. And this is now the first connection. And for the other one, let's just use a fractal. AL, not AI, AL fractal. And this red channel goes to the V. So now you see it looks pretty weird because we need to enter some values in here. So this is the V axis, this guy. And the top one is the other one. So yeah, here you've got amplitude as well. So let's first concentrate on this pattern here. So we add some layers to the procedural noise, and then we can have the power to distort or do some random shifts for the width, and then the overall amplitude just defines the width of the grid. Right, so it might be now too broken up, so the it's like, how you say, the frequency is too high. So you can just adjust the frequency a bit to make them not so repetitive. I don't know, something like this maybe. And then you do the same thing on the other one for the fractal. Frequency adjusting. Let's make this a bit bigger. Something like this, and then we can control the overall width using this and this. And now you can already see you get this broken up tiles. And you can see that you have lots of power to just do some random effects using this. It's more broken up, more chipped. So this will be the first implementation. And now the next one is you want to have a soft curve for the top. So currently it is really going from 0 to 1 in 1 pixel. And you want to add a fall off to this. So to do so, I will create an AL combine float. And I will create 2 ramp nodes for the X and Y, 2 texture ramps. Duplicate this, Control D, and it went here. And then Control drag on this, you can somehow connect these nodes. It does not always work, not sure why, but let's just do this. And then the first one, let's see if we have alpha's luminancy as well. I'm not sure if this will work. Let's try. Alpha connects here and here. So these guys are here, and then I want to create another combined float, which is this guy with this guy, and they plug into layer 1. So apparently it does also work with alpha channels. So first I changed repetition to be 10 as well. And now you can see what we get here. We get a ramp for each cobblestone, and the default behavior for combined floats is multiply, and that is exactly what we want in this case. The one ramp just needs to be switched to be a U ramp, and now we have more or less what we want to have. You can see that we get this ramp. So now we have a ramp for top and bottom, and then let's just do the same thing for the other axis, like so. And already you can see we get this nice gradient now from the edge towards the center of the tile. Okay, so now you can actually adjust this a bit more. Not too much, otherwise you will break your repetitions. And let's change the mode to be smooth, so we have a softer, smoother transition and not a hard edge. And now you can just softly adjust those values. Like so, and now go back to the other axis. A little bit here. And then the other side as well. Right, so now you have a soft transition from black and then goes up to be fully white. Yeah, it needs to be almost touching the edges, otherwise it will break. And this will give you a really like chipped cobblestone, which sometimes it's a nice effect. Right. And the next thing, what you can do, because this is a linear fall off, and you can see this is a straight line, you can also use the noise inside of a ramp. So if I increase the frequency, you can see what this brings us. So you get even a nicer transition from the displacement maps. This is definitely a really chipped and old broken cobblestones, but still the effect is pretty cool. And I just want to check something. If I use lerp instead, so I can switch between 1 and 2, we might even get away with this kind of effect rather than using the other fractal. So let's just have a quick play with this, if this could actually work. Because now we have a softer transition from nothing to up, but we can't like make the width wider of these, so that you always get these intersecting cobblestones. So it might be we still need the other one as well. This one, which maybe is with a divide or subtract, and then we need to invert, I guess. It's just, as you can see, I'm also just testing things on the fly just to see how they might look better. This is also very interesting because now you get these chipped broken edges. Multiplies this one we had previously. Yeah, I think we stay with multiply. Let's just invert them one more time and see if the result is better. Was this the wrong now? So this one goes to the bottom. Sorry for that. Right. Okay, so now let's check again if we use lerp and then switch back to the other one. No, okay, anyways, let's stick with multiply as we had it before. And we still get this nice noise on top, and let's do the same for the other one quickly just to adjust it a bit more. And then you also have the frequency slider to add more like smaller frequencies to it or change the effect overall. Right. And I think on top of that, we can add like a pattern on all the stones, like just a noise, a random offset up and down. And to do so, we create a AI noise. And we try and see what happens if I connect this to the layer 2 and then bring this back in a bit. So you can see what we get. Changing the distortion, more detail. And now I'm adjusting the frequency so we have less small noise, make them a bit bigger. Like so. And I think this one can go on top, or it might even just, let's just see how it looks, because you can see there is now some pattern on top of this. Before it was like this, and this is with the effect applied to it. Let's just see. Okay, this is now the first displacement test we have. So I save and I create an displacement shader and delete the shading engine and change the Arnold bounce padding, disable the auto bump because I don't want it to have an auto bump generated. Otherwise it will try to figure out how the bump map should look like. And the displacement is the out value of the displacement, and this one connects to the displacement shader, like so. Okay, saving and starting Arnold. We just had a little crash because of displacement, which is still a bit, I'd say, buggy or crash prone. Anyways, it's still connected. I didn't test it just yet, so let's try again. Arnold render view, start, and we don't see anything because we don't have any lights in the scene, and we still have isolate selected. So let's change it to basic mode, which is the displacement view. So perspective, and currently you don't see anything because we don't have any subdivisions. So we don't have any wireframe subdivisions on it. So you go to the shape, polyplane shape node. Under Arnold, you have iterations. So let's change the mode to be cat clock. You can see the first iteration happening. And let's try 6 subdivisions. And you see now what we get. We see definitely the geo is being deformed. And in the basic mode, you can see it more apparently. So let's go and change it to be maybe 9 subdivision. And it's really important that you don't immediately go to 9. Let's always go step by step and see the result, because it depends how pre-subdivided your mesh is. If it's really high in the beginning and you go to 9, you will never resolve the subdivision and your Maya scene will possibly crash. So let's see what we have now with 9 subdivisions. And you can see it's looking actually pretty good. We get these chipped, broken up stones. And this is now the result which I quickly could achieve using this workflow. And obviously you can reuse those maps. So let's, before we start again, I just disconnect the displacement because it is, as you just seen, a bit buggy. And I want to use this float map, mask map, to drive my color and float. So I use an A layer float again, color and float this time. This one connects to the diffuse color, and I create another AL layer float. This one connects to the roughness, and all I have to do now is actually connect those values together, and let's see how it looks like. Starting and going to isolate mode, and let's select the layer color. This is the base color. We can rename this in here and change the color to be red for now. And now we have a red floor. And I want to use this mask to drive the color. So everything which is white is being changed. So this will be the mask for layer 2, like so. And layer 2 will get a different color. Let's say green, for instance. But let's try some real world colors. Where is it? More desaturated. And this one is almost black, and it has orange. I don't know. It can also be a bit darker still. Let's just try this, and you can see what we get already just using the mask. And the same mask will drive the roughness. So my base roughness is maybe, let's try to be 0.5. Everything is 0.5 now. And this out value connects to my second layer's alpha channel, and the top is already more shiny. So we have a really rough base and then a shiny top. You can adjust whatever you want. You can invert them, make them more rough or not. So if I go to shaded mode, we still shouldn't see anything because we still don't have a single light in the scene. So to change that, Arnold lights, Skydome light, and choose a light which is in HDRIs. Let's just try real texture. I'm not sure. Empty kitchen. I don't know. What does this one look like? Nah. Don't have something outside. This one. That's good. Let's try this one. And make sure your color space is set accordingly. For HDRs, TX files, everything. Most of them should be raw, except you have like images from the internet, which you want to use as a texture. Then you need to have them to sRGB, because all 90% or 98% of all the images in the internet are in sRGB space. All right, so this is the HDR. Let's try again. Now it's processing the TX file. Yeah, so I forgot to connect the displacement, but you can see we already get the detail which we want, which we got from the texture. So going back to the hypershade and connecting the displacement to the displacement shader, saving again and launching the render view. Let's see. So this is now what we get. A very beautiful cobblestone. But you can imagine that this effect, if you spend more time on this, like overall I spent maybe 10 minutes just adjusting the width and stuff. I'm pretty sure if you spend more time on this and a bit more effort and add some broken up stuff on the top and whatever, you can get a pretty convincing result using this technique. So I hope you learned something new. You have to be a bit more open-minded about using procedurals because there's so much power in them and there's so much functionality which the typical user is not aware of. And most of them say, hey, let's do it Mari, let's paint it. But you have so much more power using procedurals. I'm not saying you always should use procedurals. You definitely, if you have a good texture artist or you're good yourself, you should paint the stuff. But you don't have the flexibility to quickly change the repetitions, something like that. Because what I could do now, I can just go to my place to D nodes, change the repeats, and you have a higher detailed map and stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching, and please leave me a thumbs up if you like this, and leave some comments below. And let's interact a bit more so we can, or I can create more content for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.